Week 12. Can't believe it's week 12 of the NFL season. It is upon us, and we are making picks for all of the games on the week 12 schedule. Some really good ones, some teams that might be starting to pack it in and go home if they can't pull off a W this week. We'll get into all of it on today's Peacock and Williamson.
NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson bring you expert NFL analysis every day in less than 30 minutes. Get an inside look at the NFL on the field and in the front office with elite breakdowns to next-level analysis and in-depth information only for the real NFL fans. This is Peacock and Williamson, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Peacock and Williamson NFL Show. Brian Peacock alongside Matt Williamson at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL. Thanks everybody for making us your first listen on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Love our everydayers and appreciate all the new listeners to our program. Subscribe on YouTube or anywhere you listen to your podcasts. And today's episode of Peacock and Williamson brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first ticket purchase. Here we go. Week 12 schedule. Just for everybody out there, the Thursday night game has not happened. This is our Friday episode, but Matt's super busy on the Friday morning post Steelers Thursday nighter. So we're recording this one early before the Thursday night game. Just a reminder, we've already made our picks for that one. The line has shifted though for the Steelers. They were favored by 4, and we still both took the Steelers. I'm going to claim that 3.5 just because it's a half a point.
Okay.
So still Steelers. But we get 3.5 now if you want it. I'm sure you want to take that as well.
I'm going to stick with the Steelers there. Sure, no doubt. The one thing I do know that's different from when we recorded, and again, we're talking about ancient history here, weather could be really bad. So I think that's why I would have brought the line down.
Yeah.
Sleet and snow and wind. It's going to be Cleveland, so
right.
Maybe that's a great
equalizer.
Yeah. And folks, I never really promote my other stuff, but I do a podcast for DK Pittsburgh Sports that I put on Twitter that I will record midnight after the game if you want to get my 10-minute overview of direct response. So check that out too.
And it kind of works out with a different schedule this week due to that Thursday nighter, which has already happened. If you're watching or listening to this program, you already know the results of that one. We didn't do a 6-pack this week, and it kind of works out because it's a smaller schedule of games because there's a 6-pack of bye week teams: the Falcons, Bills, Bengals, Saints, Jets, and Jags all taking this week off. So let's get into the rest of the schedule from week 12 and make our picks. So the games that haven't happened for our listeners, and let's start at the early games with the Minnesota Vikings at 8-2. They are visiting the 4-6 Chicago Bears. Minnesota on the road favored by 3.5.
Oh, and next week's going to be weird too, folks. So it's Thanksgiving. I mean, there's a Thursday, so there'll be a little bit strange too with our normal schedule.
Yeah, there will not be a Thanksgiving morning show, daytime show for us, but we will be back Friday to break down all the Thanksgiving games next week.
And I guess pick all our games too. We'll have a busy one on Friday, it sounds like.
Friday, we might have to do some early picks, actually, thinking about it now. Probably.
Yeah, maybe. When we pick the
on
three.
The picks Wednesday, more Thanksgiving review on Friday next week.
Yeah,
so
sounds good.
Programming notes.
Okay, yeah, we'll figure that out. I don't feel strong about this game. I don't love this. You're saying 3.5, right? On the road.
3.5 on the road. Let me start because I like the Bears as one of the better spoilers down the stretch this season. We talked about this a little bit on the mailbag show yesterday. I like the Bears being able to play spoiler. They're a home dog here, and I'm going to take the points with the home dog Bears. They showed me a little something. They fired their offensive coordinator. Is it the interim bump and they're going to come back down to earth against a team that's better than them right now in the Minnesota Vikings? Maybe. But I do like the Bears defense, familiar opponents. Darnold is showing a few more of his warts, throwing the ball to the other team a little bit more. Vikings, maybe not the juggernaut they look like when they jumped out to that undefeated start to the season, although they're still a good team, still a better team than the Bears. They should be favored, but they're on the road, and I like the Bears' opportunity now that they're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to be able to jump enough teams to get in the playoffs, even if they go on a run. But I saw something there. I saw some really good throws from their young quarterback. They're getting the rookie wide receiver Rome Odunze more involved as well in the offense. They showed me some signs. They can still play a little bit of defense. So Bears playing the role of spoiler for those Vikings in this one. Give me the Bears, and I'll take the points.
Okay. I was leaning that direction anyway. I don't think all of a sudden their blitz pickup and protection issues are solved, and the Vikings are probably the worst team in the league to have those type of issues. But I think Caleb Williams is in a better place, and I should know this, but I always think about this time of year, is there going to be weather? There almost always is some sort of Chicago weather or sloppiness. And I think that the team as a whole is in a better place. If this was 2.5, I'd take the Vikes. 3.5, I'm taking the Bears.
I don't like the idea of the stuff that the Vikings defense might throw at the rookie quarterback. And you're talking about protection issues. So, do they put Caleb Williams' head in a blender? It could definitely go that way as well. But I was just impressed with some of the throws he made last week. It was a reminder. It was like, oh, yeah, you drafted this guy number 1 overall. And a new look offense that maybe makes it a little bit more difficult for Brian Flores to prepare his defense against. And so maybe a little advantage there for the Bears as well.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
The other team I named as a spoiler in the AFC is the Indianapolis Colts. It's a tough one for them, though. At 5-6, they got to start winning a lot of games. They want to climb back into the AFC wildcard picture, even with a more improved quarterback play from Anthony Richardson after sitting down, coming back in, looking a lot better last week. Some signs that you're happy about if you're a Colts fan, but unhappy to see the Lions next up on your schedule. Lions favored by 7 points on the road at the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay, last I saw this, it was 7.5, so it might be fluctuating back and forth on that one. If I get the hook, I'm definitely taking the Colts. At 7, I still will, but a lot more reluctantly. And I like the over. I'm looking at the over at 50.5. I don't trust the Colts defense at all. I think the Lions score on everybody. But we talked about it yesterday in the mailbag show. I think the Colts offense has a chance to be really good, and maybe I'm jumping on Richardson's back too much here and saying he's all fixed, blah, blah, blah. But I think they can keep this game close at home. I don't think they win.
This is not the way you spend your money at the sports book, but I'm going to, I blew it last week thinking, oh, come on, 14 points, 2 touchdowns. This is the NFL. And then the Lions go and score 52 points on their own, 52-6, and go just destroy the Jaguars. And so I was like, I've seen enough, man. I think the Lions are going to put the Colts to bed here, and maybe the Colts have an opportunity to spoil later in the season. I don't think they're going to do it to the Lions here. Lions by a lot. Lions are a better football team. They're going to win in every phase against the Indianapolis Colts. It's going to be a tough one for Anthony Richardson. And they might score those 50 over and under points by themselves again this week. So give me the Lions. I'm not going to make that mistake again.
Okay. Now, I do think there'll be a lot of points. That's one of that's jumping out at me. Is this should be, I bet the Lions put up at least 30-ish,
Next, let's talk about the Dolphins. Can they score some more points? They are at home against the division rival New England Patriots. This one's more about draft position right now than it is about getting into the playoffs. And I think a really important game for the Packers and the 49ers as well in the afternoon slate of games. Could the Packers put the 49ers season to bed? We got a Monday nighter that's a good one as well. All that coming up on today's edition of Peacock and Williamson. Today's episode of P&W is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. This month is all about gratitude. And so while you're thanking everybody, no matter where you are or what you are doing, there's another person that we don't get to thank enough, ourselves. It's sometimes hard to remind ourselves that we're trying our best to make sense of everything. And in this crazy world, that isn't always easy. Here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people in your life, including yourself. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire. You get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. So let the gratitude flow, whether it's for yourself, whether it's for somebody else, and have an opportunity to help navigate that. And maybe a weekly check-in that might be all you need in your life to make sure you're hitting the goals you need. You can find that with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/lockedon today. Get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Today's episode also brought to you by Game Time, and Game Time is the place to find all of the tickets to your favorite sporting events. You want to go see your favorite team play? check on Game Time. Check on Game Time first. Check on Game Time last. You can get phenomenal deals on last-minute tickets at Game Time. I got some awesome last-minute concert tickets at Game Time. It was the difference in me going and not going to see a concert for the second straight night. It was like, this is so good. I'm going to check Game Time if the tickets are cheap. And I got half off ticket price to go see the band again the next night because it was so good. And I wouldn't have done that if I didn't have the Game Time app. And Game Time Picks makes it easier, especially if you're going to a ball game where there's 60,000 seats in a stadium. The Game Time Picks feature makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play even easier because they filter out the fluff, so show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time and the new Game Time Picks feature. Concerts, comedy shows, theater events, and of course, all the sporting events you can shake a stick at. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. The Miami Dolphins, Matt, are hosting the New England Patriots. I've been impressed with young quarterback Drake Maye. He's not quite there yet as a player, but the athleticism, getting to the right, read, getting the ball out of his hands, making some throws. It's not perfect, but really successful season for the New England Patriots so far, even though they're a 3-8 football team. A completely unsuccessful season so far for the Miami Dolphins. They do have Tua back. Is this team ready to break some hearts here? Dolphins favored by 7.5 at home against those New England Patriots.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said about May, and I think he is a star in the making, to be honest with you. I am a huge believer. And I'll take the points on the road. I think that there's a lot of good juju with the Patriots right now. I think Miami wins, and, maybe we see more of what their offense is capable of, but, Waddle's not even startable in fantasy anymore. Jonnu Smith and Achan. It's been a lot more horizontal stuff. There's no big plays in this offense this year.
I don't want to talk about Waddle right now.
I know I have in both my leagues.
You helped talk me into playing him last week. And it was between him and Rome Odunze, and I think it was Christian Watson. And of course, Watson goes for only on 4 catches, goes for 150, has the long touchdown. Rome Odunze has an uptick in usage with the new offensive coordinator in Chicago. And meanwhile, Waddle is just useless for my fantasy teams. People are after him the second and third round of their fantasy leagues. He's not even playable right now, even with Tua back.
That's really bad. If it makes you feel any better, I just finally caught you in our picks race for the year. Yeah. And I really appreciate that listener for tallying those up. I think you're going to there's none that I like this week. I keep looking at the slate going, I don't feel real strong about any of these games against the spread. So maybe you'll get your lead back.
I don't like it either. I think we might be exactly dead even now. After
I think we are. Yeah.
And I jumped out to an earlier lead, and you've fought right back. And I've been on I've just been on a slide the last few weeks. I haven't got a Thursday nighter right all week. So apologies to Steelers fans for picking the Steelers on that Thursday nighter. I'm going to go the other direction though, and I'm going to take the points here with the New England Patriots to keep this one close with a division rival because I hate what the Dolphins are doing right now. The Dolphins are just disgusting to me. I don't want to look at them. I don't want to see those uniforms. And it's all because of my fantasy team. Let's go to the Tampa. Not really. Let's go to the fantasy, or let's go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are at the New York Giants, and they're going to be playing against not Daniel Jones, not Drew Lock, but Tommy DeVito, the new starting quarterback for your New York Giants that are at home, and it's the visiting Buccaneers favored by 6 points.
I got no problem laying the points. I think DeVito is going to really castrate this offense, and it wasn't good to begin with. I don't love the Bucs D, don't get me wrong, but the Bucs offense coming off a bye, get this win, then maybe get like Mike Evans back. They could start, ramping things up here a little bit and making some noise. So I like the Bucs pretty big in this one.
Wow, you don't believe in the magic, the DeVito magic, the Tommy Cutlets, the hometown New York Giants? Dude, the quarterback play is not going to be that much worse. Right?
Yeah.
Home? Can you get?
I probably would take the Bucs with Jones anyway.
Can you get after Baker Mayfield? Did you say that Mike Evans is
I think he'll be back next week. Like, get this win, and then I think he gets back in the fold shortly after that. Is the way I understood it.
I've been impressed with how competitive the Bucs have been with all the injuries right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've been impressed with the coaching staff, offensively, defensively. Recently, the defense had some problems earlier on in the year. Baker Mayfield, I've been impressed with as well. I hate this game. I hate this line so much because my heart tells me that I want to take a shakeup in New York and take the 6 points for the home team because of where the Bucs are right now. But I don't think I can do it. So I'm going to give up the points and take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's nothing to believe in with the New York Giants right now. Disrespectful to Tommy Cutlets. The Dallas Cowboys are at division rival Washington Commanders. And man, these seasons couldn't have gone in different directions. And would you have expected that in week 12, the Washington Commanders were favored by 10 points over the Dallas Cowboys?
No, it's insanity. And I think it's the right line. Last I saw it was 10.5. And at 10.5, I definitely would take Dallas, not feel great about it at all. At 10, I'll tentatively take Dallas. I still believe kind of in the Tommy Cutlet version here, like Cooper Rush isn't that bad, is he? He's been really brutal, but I do think the Cowboys defense took a big stride forward with Parsons back in the mix. So I think they can at least stay within 10.
I hate this one because
I hate all these
of how big the line is.
Yeah.
And this is a really tough week. And so you're taking the Commanders? You're giving?
I'll take Washington. Or no, I took Dallas with the points.
Okay, so I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to give up the points with Washington, even though I don't think it's the smartest play. I just think that the Cowboys are awful right now, and Cooper Rush is not the reason why, but it's obviously still not as good as it was with Dak, and everything looks difficult for them right now, even with Cooper Rush, a quarterback last week, playing okay. Little stumble for the Commanders. This is a get-right game for them at home. They're going to be heated going against the Dallas Cowboys. There's nothing that home team is going to like more than beating the Dallas Cowboys. And I hate the line, but 10 points, double digits, big Commanders win. I'm gonna bet on that.
All right.
How many 10.5 points? Is this enough for the Kansas City Chiefs visiting the Panthers? The Chiefs aren't blowing teams out. The Chiefs are coming off their first loss of the season against the Bills, but this is the Carolina Panthers again, and they are at home. The 3-7 Panthers hosting the 9-1 Chiefs, and it's the Chiefs visiting favored by 10.5.
I don't like it either. It's a little too much for me because the Chiefs don't blow people out. They don't win by double digits, even in their best performances very often. But I'm just going to say that they're pissed off after losing to the Bills, and they're going to take it out on Carolina. That the Panthers are doing some good things on offense, but are getting the champs at the wrong time.
And again, this is the wrong way to play it for me, but I'm going to take my medicine from last week and that Lions team, and I saw a big line, and this team is awful, and I'm not going to bet on awful teams to cover anymore. Kansas City Chiefs blow them out. Multiple touchdown win for the Kansas City Chiefs. A get-well game for them against the Carolina Panthers. I don't care where this game is played.
Yeah, I hear you. It's not like it's the best home field advantage ever either.
The Tennessee Titans at 2-8 are at the 7-4 Houston Texans. Houston favored by 7.5. This is a tough one because obviously the Texans should be favored, but I've talked about how the Texans are one of those teams that's like, yeah, look at it, they're kind of flimsy with some of their as good as they are, as good as you think they are on paper, as far ahead as they are in the AFC North right now.
And Tennessee's front is pretty good. And I think Levis has played better, really featuring Ridley to almost an obscene amount. But I'm going with Houston here at home. I'm almost certain Will Anderson will be back to pair with Hunter, and the Titans O-line is a real problem for me. I bet Levis not turns into a pumpkin, but there's 2 or 3 catchable balls for the Texans defense. So I'm going to take Houston here.
I am too. Not betting on terrible teams anymore, at least this week.
Yeah.
So give me the Texans 7.5. Sure. I'm fine with that. I would like it at 7. I would like it at 6.5, but give me the Texans over the Titans by a good margin.
Okay.
Next, we've got some more division matchups: Broncos, Raiders, Cards, Seahawks, and a really interesting one. Could the Green Bay Packers send the 49ers packing for the 2024 season. Next. The final episode, or the final segment of today's episode of Peacock and Williamson, sponsored by Built Rewards. PSA for anyone who rents. If you haven't heard of Built, you're about to thank me, because earning points on rent is now a reality. When you pay your rent through Built, you don't even have to check with your landlord to start earning points. And you can use points towards flights, use points toward hotel stays, fitness classes, and even your next rent payment. Let me break it down for you. So there's no cost to join Built. And as a member, you'll earn valuable points on rent and your other everyday spending. Built points can be transferred to your favorite hotels and airlines, and even the ones you haven't heard of. We're talking over 400 or 500 airlines, 700,000 hotels and properties around the world you can redeem your Built points towards. So points can be also redeemed toward future rent payments, unique experiences that only Built members can access. So if you're not earning points on your rent, why not start earning points on your rent? And you're already paying your rent anyway, so go earn some points. Joinbuilt.com is the place. Joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNFL. That's joinbuilt, joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNFL, and make sure to use our URL so they know we sent you. Joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNFL to start earning points on your rent payments today. Here we go. Let's get to the Green Bay Packers, who are hosting the 5-5 San Francisco 49ers. This is a stumbling San Francisco 49ers team that is underperforming. And looking at some of the metrics in this game, Matt, the 49ers win this game. They stay over 50% chance to make the playoffs. You kind of, you stay right there with the Cardinals, whether they win or lose, and you still have an opportunity to fight for one of those wild card spots. If they lose to the Packers, it drops to under 15% chance to make the playoffs. And the Cards can get a couple game lead on you. And you start to, they're already really behind the 8 ball with NFC tiebreakers, are the 49ers. So basically you can't make the wild card if you lose. You got to win the division, and then the Cards have a big lead on you. So this is a huge game. This is basically playoffs in November right now for some teams, including the 49ers. And I'm sure the Packers, after getting ousted in the playoffs many times recently by the 49ers in January, wouldn't mind just knocking them out right now and not waiting for that matchup in January. Niners banged up as well, and the Packers are favored by 2 at home.
I think this game comes down to a last-minute field goal and a really even, one of the better games of the week. So I'll take points. I don't know who wins. I don't feel real sure about either team winning big. I don't think that'll happen. I think it'll be very back and forth. But a desperate Niners team getting points, I'll take it.
Desperation is about the only thing to bet on for the 49ers right now. Don't like that they're banged up. It's key players. McCaffrey's not quite 100%. Bosa's got a hip right now. He might not play Wednesday's practice. And I haven't seen we haven't seen the end of week practice reports yet. But Brock Purdy wasn't throwing at practice earlier this week.
Yeah, that would change my tune, obviously.
And I think he's going to play. That's why, if you want to bet on if you want to bet on one way, you should probably bet now, because you don't know about Purdy. If Purdy, that line's going to change if all of a sudden Purdy's not going to play, right? And I would bet on the Packers by 2. I just think they're playing better football. They're a better team right now. They're at home. I think the 49ers lines have recently been a little off because we're still treating them like the 49ers. They haven't played like the 49ers. So until I see that, I'm not betting on them like they're those 49ers we expected until further notice. Maybe they show up in this one with their backs against the wall. I'm taking the Packers, and I'm giving up those 2 points.
I hear you. They're coming off a bye too, right? Green Bay.
Yeah, the Niners. Yeah. That's the other thing. Niners are playing like 4 out of 5 games against teams coming off bye weeks.
Really? Wow.
Bills next week that are sitting there resting right now.
Resting up. That's tough.
Yeah. Tough road for the 49ers. They still haven't played the Lions yet this year either.
Oh boy.
The Arizona Cardinals, the team that is leading the West, are playing against the Seattle Seahawks, who are right behind them in the West. Another 5-5 team in the West. The Seahawks are hosting the 6-4 Arizona Cardinals. All 4 teams within a game right now in the NFC West. And the team that doesn't win the West probably doesn't make the playoffs this year. Arizona Cardinals favored by 1 on the road.
This is another one I think is kind of a field goal game. So I'll take points. I don't have a real strong feeling of who wins. I think Seattle's defense is kind of turning a corner. but I also think Arizona's offense is probably the best unit of the four and should be okay on the road. I mean, it's a place they played a bunch. I'll take points.
As one of our listeners had pointed out that the Seattle Seahawks, this isn't the Legion of Boom era Seahawks, and it's still a loud stadium, but maybe it's not the home field advantage that it has been in the past for the Seahawks. And so you don't want to maybe overrate the Seahawks at home. And I'll buy that partially. It's still a road game, still a long trip for a lot of teams. It's still loud. It just acoustically is a loud stadium. So if it's full, it's going to be loud there. Are the Seahawks the team that's going to take advantage of that anymore? Maybe not. It's insane that the Cardinals are favored on the road at Seattle based on recent history, but that's where we are this season. But again, these teams are all so close. Home dog. I think I have to. Everything I know about NFL and parity.
You sure football, Seattle's? I thought Seattle was favored by 1.
I see Arizona favored by 1. I might need to refresh this.
Okay.
Let's see. Before I look at FanDuel here again,
so I said I was taking points, but I thought I was getting 1 with Arizona. So
let me double check that real quick. So does that change?
Either way, I'm gonna stick with Arizona though, even if it's just laying 1.
Okay, I'm gonna recheck that right now, but I'm gonna stick with the points for sure at home. The 1 point. I mean, look, this is the 1 point at home with the Seahawks.
Okay.
I'm pulling that up right now, but let's get on to the next game here really quick. This is an easy one for me. Philadelphia Eagles are at the Rams. I think the Rams are not that good. I think they're actually worse than their 5-5 record, despite Matthew Stafford and some of the players they do have. I really like how that young defensive line has come together for the Rams, but the back seven, they just don't have enough firepower this year, and it's going to be one step forward, one step back. The Eagles are too good of a team. They're favored by 3 on the road, and that's not enough for me. I'm taking the Eagles, giving up those 3 points.
100% agree. It's probably the one that I feel the best about that we've discussed today. Eagles, and there'll be Eagles fans in LA anyway. You know, I mean, they're a good team.
Monday nighter. That is the Sunday nighter, by the way. The Philadelphia Eagles.
I don't think we did Broncos Raiders, by the way, before we get to Monday night.
Yeah, you're right. I skipped over that because I was so excited to talk about how the Packers are going to knock the 49ers out of the league this year. The Denver Broncos at 6-5 are at the 2-8 Las Vegas Raiders, and Denver is favored by 6 points on the road.
I'm ready to say Denver's 6 points better than the terrible teams, and this is kind of a theme that you've been saying all podcast is I'm not putting money on the terrible garbage teams, and the Raiders are a terrible garbage team.
They are. I mean, it would be off-brand for me this episode, at least, to go any other direction with this game. Honestly, I don't love it, but I'm going to give up the points with the way that. And look, good on Bo Nix. Like the Broncos have a large, I think, quarterback advantage in this game right now.
Yeah, definitely on the lines of scrimmage. Crosby aside, weapons might be. I'm not sure what the Raiders are good at.
That's a great question. That is a great question. And there's probably going to be a lot of Broncos fans there as well. So is the home field advantage? So. I'm looking at the updated FanDuel Sportsbook lines, and it is now it's actually changed the other way even more. So the Cardinals favor by 1.5. So I'm going to take the 1.5 now with the Seahawks at home.
Oh, I'll stick with Arizona. Man, that must be getting a lot of action.
Getting nickel and dimed over there.
Yeah.
You had me check that.
Keep getting jabs in the face.
You just lost 0.5 point.
I know. I thought I was getting a point, and then it went down to minus 1.5. I lost 2.5 points since my original thoughts.
It must be moving that way for a reason. I don't know.
Yeah. HarBowl Bowl on Monday night.
Oh, the HarBowl. Monday Night Football. Love this one. John Harbaugh's 7-4 Ravens are at Jim Harbaugh's, looking up at Jim Harbaugh's 7-3 Chargers, by the way, in the AFC wild card right now. This is huge for playoff implications for the family that are the Harbaughs. John's got a Super Bowl win over Jim, so he probably won't let him forget that no matter what happens on Monday Night Football. Ravens favored by 3 on the road.
I'll take the home team. The familiarity. I think the Ravens win. I don't think the Steelers created this blueprint everyone can copy to shut down Lamar and what I think is still one of the best 2 offenses in the league. but I also think that Herbert's playing at a really high level, and the brother familiarity just makes me think that this is going to be close. So I'm taking points all day long in a game like this.
Close. I'm taking points. I'm right there with you. So impressed with the Chargers. I'm not going to deny how good they've looked. And look, the Ravens are a team that has looked like a powerhouse one week. They lost to the Raiders. They lost to
Browns.
Who was it?
Browns.
Yeah, they lost to the Browns, and they just lost to the Steelers last week, who are a legitimate playoff team and a good football team. So the Ravens have something to prove here. They're on the road, and just love where Jim has these Chargers right now. Two completely different teams, by the way, with how they're playing and how they win games too. Except they both like to run the ball a little bit.
Yep. So you're taking points as well.
I'm taking points. I'm taking the home Chargers. Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
That's gonna be a fun one.
It's gonna be so fun. I love it. That is some other snoozers this week, but Monday night's gonna be fun, and there's a couple of good games in each time part to watch this week.
Concentrate on.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the week 12 schedule. What do you think? You agree, disagree with our picks? Let us know at BD Peacock, at Williamson NFL. You can always make a comment on YouTube, subscribe while you're there. Matt and I back Monday to break it all down right here. Peacock and Williamson.